Okay, so renting versus buying. Pros and cons. Pros of renting, it's very simple. It's easy. If you're living off base, you get your housing allowance, which is tax-free, and you're gonna probably just give that to the owner of the property. You're gonna pay utilities for that property, and you're gonna live there. You're gonna move all your stuff in, it'll be nice and easy. And when you're done, it goes away, and you move. Another pro is if something breaks in the property, the landlord or the property management company, they'll fix it. And that's awesome. And if that's right for you, there's nothing wrong with renting. However, renting is a short-term strategy. You're in and you're out. There are, like I said, there's a couple of benefits, but long-term strategy of generating other forms of income, creating wealth for yourself and your family, and having a longer view on life and income and everything, buying is the only one that really allows you to do that. If you're gonna get the same amount of housing, same amount of BAH or housing allowance, putting that into real estate, and that's tax-free money for your BAH, and that's gonna go into paying your mortgage and your principal and all that stuff that's included in the mortgage, which is also generally lower than what market rent is. And then once you're living in that property, yes, it's gonna be a little bit harder. That's a con of real estate. You have to learn how to fix things, or you have to find contractors, you have to find tenants, and all of these things are seemingly problems if you choose to look at them that way. At School of Grit, and the way I learned to think about things, is they're actually opportunities to learn more, build your confidence, and from my experience, every time I've had a problem to solve, it's kind of weird, but I always end up making money in one way, shape, or form every time I solve that problem. So if I had to fix a pipe, or the tougher side of real estate is you're gonna have to deal with these problems. If I fix something, now I learned how to fix it, and now if it comes up again, I fix it quicker. The beauty of all of this stuff is once you get all this set up, and it takes a little bit of startup. You're not just gonna, like I said, renting is easy. Real estate and buying your first property is a challenge. But in my personal opinion, that's why it's good, is because all good things are hard to do. Like nothing that ever came easy is really worth anything. And from my experience and listening to people that I've followed, mentors of mine, real estate is one of the greatest ways of generating wealth. And you have the availability of the VA loan to put little to no money down on your down payment, and then while serving on active duty to pay your mortgage, which is your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, with tax-free money while living in it, and then over a year, about a year or over, being able to move out of that property, rent it to somebody else, and then keep the difference, which is usually a couple $100 extra a month, and then move to another property. And I always break down the benefits of owning real estate into three things: A, B, and C. So A is appreciation. The property value over time is going to increase. So you will get credit essentially from whatever purchase price you buy at, 2 or 3 or 5% over the next couple of years for the duration of however long you own the property. That's going to be your appreciation. So you will keep that, and that'll come back to you if you ever go to sell. B is you're going to get the benefits of your principal pay down. So in a normal mortgage, you get principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. The principal, if you're hearing this for the first time, the principal goes back to building equity in the property, and you will get that back at the end of when you go to sell. So that is money that goes from your BAH into the mortgage payment, but it goes into paying down your debt, which at the end comes back to you. If you were renting, you wouldn't get that. That goes to building equity for the owner of that property that you're renting. And C, which is my personal favorite, is cash flow. So cash flow is very simply, if you go to rent a property and your rent is, let's say, $1,200 and all of your expenses are $1,000, the cash flow is that $200. So after you've lived in that property for, let's say, a year or a year and a half, and you need to move or you want to move, when you go to rent that property out, the cash flow that was the thing that set me free, because I had done a couple of properties over and over. And once I left the property, I rented it out and I would cash flow the property. I would make money each month outside of my Army paycheck. And that was really the income that provided my financial freedom, which allowed me to leave the military and not work for anybody else for now over 2 years. The cash flow is like I said, that's my favorite part. But what you're going to get when you buy versus renting, you're going to get appreciation. So the property value is going to go up, generally go up, especially over time. B, you're going to get the benefits of building equity in the property. And C, you're going to get the cash flow from when you move from that property and you rent it out. Rent minus expenses, whatever is left over, it could be a couple hundred. At some of my units, I cash flow over $1,000 per month on certain properties. So it is substantial over time. And it's those three benefits which really brought me back to buying versus renting. Once I learned about these things, I decided that buying was absolutely the right choice for me. And it's worked out. So if this is exciting to you and you're interested in learning more, go over to schoolofgrit.co and join our community where we talk about this stuff in depth and we help you get your first property and start along your journey to financial freedom.